So we call a meeting to order at 6:30. Commissioner Alshire. Commissioner Mayor.
Present.
Commissioner Baird.
Present.
Commissioner Foreman.
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Here.
Commissioner Magley.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cox. Commissioner Alden.
Pledge allegiance to the flag. States of indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is review and the approval of the prior meeting minutes, attached to your packet. Does anybody have anything they would like to discuss on the last meeting minutes? Motion for,
Make a motion to last meeting. I'll make a motion.
all those in favor? Opposed? So this brings us into the, 5 on the agenda, which is the public hearing for the consider the language on the R3 zoning. So we're going to open that up right now for the public hearing portion of that. If anybody has anything they'd like to contribute to the public, if you would please make sure you state your name, and if you can keep it brief to a couple minutes. Public hearing is on the 340 of the R3 ordinance. Yeah. And address. Name and address. I have not received any written comments or anything, other than from Don Borman, but he is present and can state the statements, and I did receive a written statement from Boyd Harris and the New York State. There is no comment on the public side. I will close the public hearing, and I will tell the commission speak to the
I don't know how many of you read the comments I put in there, but I talked to one of the county planners who actually went to school for planning. He said this goes against all planning, good planning, ideas. This is not what we want. For one thing, duplexes and single-family homes can be built by a builder without an architect. Into multifamily, which is 3 or more, you're required to have an architect. Public has an extra layer of protection with an architect, looking at building codes and everything else. I mean, he just said this is a terrible idea. In the past, we have always done everything we can, and when there's conflicts between our regulations and the county regulations, we have always worked to bring our regulations into compliance with what the county is. And I think that's what we should do here. One thing, if you can build, in R3, on 5,000 square feet, and you can put a duplex in there, then why couldn't we just do 2,500 square feet and put houses on it? This is not just a density thing. This is far more than that. This is just a bad idea.
anybody else have comments regarding the proposal?
I don't disagree in the fact that more than a duplex.
Right.
Needing that layer of protection
I had a long talk with one of the county planners about this. You wanna know the pros and cons about it, he knows the pros and cons about it. He knows the law, planning and zoning. We can always invite him up and have him make a little presentation to us on it. Sure he'd be willing to do it.
Our other entity for comparison is the City of Columbia footprint provisions name. Closer to now, or closer to the point.
From what I understand, is they mirror the county. Or the county mirrors them, I'm not sure which.
Chicken and egg.
Did rewrite theirs, a few years ago, and they made it very clear. Even in R three, if you're gonna build a duplex, you do it to the duplex standards, period. The county standards are not in Belmont at all. It used to be, but they took that out.
Anybody, any other, anybody else on the commission have anything to add to this at the moment?
Just to clarify, Don, are you stating that you have issue with the square footage of the minimum lot for the two-family dwelling or the wording of?
Wording of the present ordinance. The present ordinance basically says, the way I read it, is they can use a 6,000 square foot lot and put a duplex on it.
So that's what I'm asking. Do you have a problem with the square footage for the duplex or the entire wording change?
The entire wording change.
I did talk to,
Clear that 10,000 square feet is required for a duplex, no matter what the zone.
right, that's what I'm saying. So you're arguing that it should be 10,000 square feet for a two-family dwelling, not that the wording is wrong. I talked to Sydney, and she said that the wording of this change does align with Boone County. If the Planning and Zoning Commission has an issue with the size that she put in this, that you could make a motion to change the size of the square footage of the lot for a duplex. But if, I just want to make sure that,
Well, the 6,000 square foot is in there for single family, dwellings, which is, that mirrors the R1 requirement. So what we need to do is also mirror the R2 requirement. For duplex.
So you're saying that would be 10,000 square
It should
feet.
be 10,000 square feet.
So that's what the amendment would be, to have that in the ordinance, right?
Yes,
Be clear that the duplexes would be 10,000 feet.
which I think is what the ordinance says now. Interpretation, it's a poorly worded ordinance. But I think you can very easily read that to say that it's required to meet the duplex standard. I mean, the way it reads now, it says provide a minimum lot area of 6,000 square feet for single or two family. Well, no, we don't want two family, we want 10,000 square feet for two family.
What you were saying earlier, this is where I'm on the beginning, so what you were saying earlier, when you were indicating that it's not, we don't require an architect or duplex.
Right.
But this, I mean, that doesn't, I mean, going to 10,000 square foot, is saying that 10,000 square foot minimum lot sizing doesn't resolve that, still says two family dwelling.
But that's state law.
The building code, yeah.
Yeah, clear, because when you were indicating that this is a bad idea earlier in your comments, I wanted to be clear that what we were stating is a bad idea, is just the 10,000 square foot, not having 10,000 square foot minimum for a two-family dwelling.
Well, that-
All we have is with,
It needs to be clearly stated, what you're saying.
That's what I'm hearing.
right? That's
You'll,
what I-
you'll get it online. But can fall under the IFC resident. All the chances. The rules, they're not required. We just want to, we should make sure we get a clear cut definition of what will allow, where could it decide, what can be allowed.
So IBC versus residential. It falls under what we want to do is family, it falls under multi-family.
Both involved.
Which is more close to because that's where you said things drop through sometimes in that process of building, correct?
Yeah, 'cause then you get into life safety issues.
Individual homes,
Anything bad can happen.
individual homes is a situation we have to home, selling to them. Ownership with a duplex.
Your feet right on it, it's not required. And your own.
I should say, so I understand, so that's the main thing.
No,
That would have to be additional, that would have to be,
that'd be more than.
right, it's not,
But that's something we want to consider to make sure we get flex, right? Recommendation, something you want to put into that.
Yeah.
For the ordinance to be reviewed. For that. That makes sense. So I want to make sure if we leave here today, specific actions for to be brought to the board. So we can act upon those and get those things cleaned up. And overall, we take the gray out of it. Does that make sense? Yeah.
we're just leave this in on our recommendation.
Well, that's study it, I mean, I don't know exactly, we could maybe need. Where it says single or two family dwellings, I would say that 6,000 square feet for single family dwellings, or 10,000 square feet for two family dwellings.
So that statement, you want, if we were to go through with this language, prove upon with that language being put into the, it could go forward, but if we did that, then it would be clear what we would, you all were voting on, to
And
pose to the board.
if it needs to be cleaned up legally, that's fine, as long as the intent of what we're.
Well, I think that takes out the fear, right, with a 2,500 square foot house, things like that, that's kind of that gray area that is falling into place. So, clearly stated, that's what it is, that's what we do, moving forward, you know, and so I think that's what you're talking about, actually, what I'm using, that's fair. So, I think what you're looking to do is approve this with those changes. Just to recommend approve it, you know, to the board, with those things, is what I'm hearing, if I'm wrong, in any way, shape, or form. So I just want to make sure, so that way you guys know where we're at, where we're going. If you get something to move forward on, is my question, right? Yeah. Otherwise, we're having meetings to have meetings. But I like, that doesn't mean I want to push anything.
Right.
So that's why we have this board, so it's all a recommendation, it's a fair, agreed upon recommendation for you folks.
I don't think I have copies. Subdivision ordinance that allows for duplexes to be, have individual ownership. Like passing them to you.
R2PD,
So, does it, anything different as minimum lot requirement? Is that language as part of?
Yeah, so.
Yes, we did allow, I think we allowed it at 10,000 square feet. I'm not
on
positive,
the R2PD.
yes. But I didn't look at.
I have a copy here to look it up.
He's looking for it.
Yes, we're gonna would change this, and if the other, the other, they don't change it. System.
He's saying, get this under multifamily. C. Well, this is a little stringent, that way you're gonna have families renting and so forth like that versus individual homes being sold or. Yeah, it's all, they all move to multi-dwelling, but then they have different. Yeah. Good question.
Case where we are aligning to that.
Well, I think we can go
Yeah,
forward with
that's-
this proposal.
Yeah, if we go,
And we can look at that and if we have it at, city council
Yeah.
or lower meeting, whatever.
still to line. Yeah, so we can make it all.
I think that would be our intent.
We wanna,
I think we can just take that as an action.
Yeah, you could actually ask for one. Do with the changes recommended. And then they could.
Align with that.
And we'll get to line the other stuff. Yeah.
Does anybody have anything else to add before that? All right, I'm gonna ask, do we have a motion to make proposal of recommended changes? Here in a minute. Based on what we've discussed here, is aligning with our chief as well. All those in favor?
If that roll call on it.
Do you roll call on it?
Commissioner Alshire? Commissioner Maynard?
Yes.
Commissioner Barron?
Yes.
Commissioner Mormon?
Yes.
Commissioner Alden?
Yes.
This closes the item 5 on the agenda. R3 ordinance brings us to the rezoning of 601 South Central Real Estate from R1 to 2, which now makes the public hearing officially open on that portion of the agenda. So we have anybody who wants to speak on behalf of rezoning request of 601 South Central. Please state your name, address, and forward to the
My name is Michael Freeman, I live at 600 South Central. Built a very nice home in Centralia because I love Centralia. The house across the street, I'm surprised, hasn't been gone through a formal type of condemning. It's in pretty rough shape. There was significant drug use over there, so I'm surprised there wasn't some sort of abatement or anything listed in the sale when the original sold it back. The traffic in that area with the schools and the location with the rec center and the intermediate school, fairly heavy in the mornings. With Sims Creek not connecting over anymore, like it used to in the past, all that traffic is routed that way. I like it being a residential neighborhood with single family homes. So I don't want to see anything happen where we open the door to where now we're doing spot zoning of duplexes throughout residential neighborhoods. Built in that neighborhood because I like that area. And I have some good neighbors over there. Raised 3 daughters, they go to school here. I don't want to see it turn into a revolving door of tenants over there.
Any other comments?
Oh, it's my turn, I own it.
Oh.
They're done.
No, we'll talk now.
My name is Nathan Drury. I might seem like an outsider because I didn't grow up here. I'm from California, Missouri. My father-in-law lives here. My wife went to high school here. I just found an educator here in the school system. I bought the property a couple years ago. My intention was to fix it up because I bought it off an auction. I thought it was an investment property. Fix it up, make it a nice home, try to find nice schools. Unfortunately, when they built it 100 years ago, it's literally just sinking into the ground. Didn't have any of that information before I bought it. Shame on me. I'm also real estate. So I'm trying to think of my family as well. I'm not trying to ruin your neighborhood by any means, but I think a duplex there would be just fine, especially on the corner. It backs up to railroad tracks. You know, it's not like it's a pristine neighborhood. It's got railroad tracks running through the back there. You do have a very nice home, but it doesn't conform to the neighborhood whatsoever. All the other houses are, 1,200, 1,500 square foot. Even if I put a duplex there, it's not going to be anywhere near the same size as that home. If he's worried about conformity, and just because it's a duplex doesn't mean that those are bad people that are going to be living there. So I think that's a little disparaging to say revolving door of people that live in duplexes if they're any less than people. So like I said, I'm just here to state my claim that I just think a duplex there would make sense. It'd bring more tax revenue into the city. There'd be 2 more families living here, contributing to your school system. I think it's a good idea. Obviously, I'm at your mercy and I'm ruining the neighborhood by any. But I think a duplex there would be just fine, especially the way it's situated on the lot. I'd like to turn it on Lakeview instead of Central Avenue. For all those reasons. So, appreciate it.
Do I say anything else to that? So, Mike Frazier again, 600 South Central. When he spoke, he said it backs up to the tracks. Well, if he turns the duplex to face Lakeview, then it will back up to my neighbor's backyard.
Uh-huh.
On the side of her house. We'll have 2 families right there up against her. The train tracks, if I'm not mistaken, are owned by the city of Columbia and were once used to bring coal down from Thomas Hill Lake, and I don't think they're very frequently used anymore. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And as far as the size of my house, yeah, I built a big house over there, but in doing that, I elevated every single other person's house around these property values. So I brought up every single value, their value of their homes in that neighborhood by doing that. It's a residential neighborhood. I really feel strong that Centralia is still such a special place that we need to maintain residential neighborhoods as residential neighborhoods and not start these duplexes here. You look around town in a lot of other places, they've taken down old homes, they've built nice, single-family slab homes in a lot of places. And I've spoken with the current owner, we had messaged when he bought it. I messaged him a few weeks ago about this situation, and in that message, I asked him why he wouldn't just consider building a single-family home. His reply was, you had a chance to buy it, you could have done what you wanted to do. I'll see you at the meeting, so we're here now. Some of my other neighbors speak.
About that, if I could.
Yeah.
One more time, we're not gonna get to.
Yeah, I mentioned the train tracks just because it's not your normal, residential lot, if you will. It does back up the street and a train track. You know, it's not in the middle of a subdivision, it's not in the middle of 15 neighborhoods. Like I said, there is a little bit of a blight on the property because of the train tracks. I understand it's not frequently used, but I've personally seen a train track run down that before. So that's the only reason why I'm mentioning. I wasn't disparaging your house, but I'm just saying that you got to build what you wanted to build on your property. It doesn't conform to the neighborhood, and I don't think a duplex would be that big of an eyesore, so to speak. And I built
What if it's zoned for? That's what I built.
but you didn't have to ask permission, and I know.
It's Boone County. A lot of permission.
You say it's an R one. You didn't have to do a meeting to try to do what you want to do with your property. I do. I did message you, initially, and for almost a year and a half, you showed some interest in purchasing a property. I was more than fair. I gave you plenty of time. You didn't respond. So I finally decided I have to do something with the property. I think it's probably more of an eyesore to have a property that's just been sinking in the ground for the last 100 years versus a brand new build that will also elevate the property values along the same area. It's a brand new build.
Home right there.
New build versus the dilapidated house is going to elevate the property.
So, appreciate that. I do. I appreciate all of it. Yes.
I'm Jolene Rogers. I live at 605 South Central. I've lived there for 20 years. I do not appreciate his suggestion. It's like this. They would have to look at me. All I have to see is the back of the building. There's also, when you think about it, you have a duplex, how many cars are gonna be parked out front? Those children that go to school don't pay attention at the corner. There's nobody there to watch them go across the street, Central, to go home. They don't look to the left or to the right. It's a busy, busy place. The kids, some of them on bicycles, ride on the sidewalk, where kids can't even walk on the sidewalk. I just don't think it's a good idea. Like I said, I've lived there. Well, I've lived there in 2 houses. The same place. I've lived through the Century Fire. We've had the bills backed up. We're proud of our house. And we're proud of our neighbors. I just don't think it would be a very good fit. And the train does go back and forth. Sometimes once a day, sometimes twice a day.
Thank you. Yeah. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak on this issue? That, maybe you know me.
I have two written and
Okay.
to- here's two different ones. I do need to ask, is there any other residents in the area with a different address than those who spoken who are for or against the rezoning? I do need to know that because it changes, how many, the majority on.
I'm ready.
Do you live within 185 feet?
Nope. Never mind then. I live across the street,
What is your address?
525 South Central.
Where you signed in?
I signed in.
What is your name?
And Brian.
Robin? And are you for or against? Against. Anyone else?
I'm just done.
Make sure you're clear on that. Okay. The two, letters that I did receive are from 311 West Lakeview Street, from Teresa Allen. She is also opposed. And the Rogers Family Trust at 605 South Central is also opposed. I need those entered into the official record. Oh, shoot.
Oh, yeah.
We just off 65 or something.
Yep. Sorry. Yep.
On the second.
We just have the one. Anything else from the public? I'll close the public hearing so that, commission comments regarding the rezoning. Anybody have anything?
Linda. Wanted to input history. And this is deed spot zoning, but there's nothing legal about that. In the past, when we've considered zoning from R1 to R2, we looked at whether there was adjacent property zoned zoning, so that it was advancement of the expansion of the desired zone. Or in the case of over in Frank, there was a proposal to build a duplex down at Sim Street. And also a duplex on facing Jefferson. That was exactly the same thing, R1 to R2. The board took the matter that they wanted to encourage more housing improvement, new construction, that was active time of working, new subdivisions, and finding a new place to live in town. But they took the fact that if we're going to rezone one particular lot, you gotta make sure that the neighborhood is comfortable with that. So when we advertised for that, we advertised people in the whole block. In fact, all of that block and the block to the west facing onto Bridge. Anybody wouldn't be bound, absolutely, but if we did that thing, that would be the tenor of what P and Z and the Board of Aldermen wanted to do. And so they would be on fair notice that if that had been approved, and it was, that the board considered that a precedent. And under those sorts of feelings, this would be a similar thing. Would create a precedent for other people along Central Street
that might be interested in doing that. So, just bear that in mind. One request, we can have enterprising real estate people who think that's a wonderful idea, because there are a couple of other houses in that area that are not in good shape.
Well, oh, okay. If I look at this through a different lens, because I actually live in what I would consider Old Town Central. And knowing that once we start like spot zoning an area like this, we go in and spot zone, it can lead to other things. Having experienced the not so great side of that, I can understand the concerns of the neighbors, sitting here. So I have my personally, my personal reservation in, continuing to do such that type of activity within what I would consider the older part of the town. Not saying that we don't want to encourage development, not saying that we don't want to encourage, new housing, and, yes, we do need housing in this town, I can all argue we need probably housing in this town, we better have in this town. But, I think about listening to what everybody had to say and can see where the concerns are coming from. Somebody like Frank came in and bought property down on the corner for me, which he thought I would be very reserved and wanting to have duplex in there. I've already lived through having, the constant, influx of different neighbors coming through. I'm not saying that they're not good or bad or anything like that. I can understand that side of it. I want to make sure that anything we would recommend from the planning and zoning board that is the right thing for the neighbors.
Okay, he did bring up 2 points that actually are in his favor, and one is the railroad. Lakeview is pretty much Pleasant Street. Those are points in his favor. Having said that, on Lakeview, there's no parking. So all the parking would have to be either in a driveway or a garage, or they would park around the corner on the other street. That's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
So, I don't think that this spot zoning, that's in its worst light, in my opinion. Spot zoning isn't necessarily always bad. If it meets the goals of what you're trying to accomplish, it can be a good thing. Spot zoning has a bad name for a reason. This is probably one of those reasons.
Any thoughts from you?
Take it in two regards. One, making a better neighborhood is one that need to be positive neighbors feel. Currently, there is a detached garage and a house there, which means there's two driveways, already curb cut, already capable of handling multiple vehicles. It's already providing for the off-street parking for 2 cars or people. I also am one that is also very pro-development. Always will be. Improving a dilapidated structure, whether it be single family or it be duplex, I'm always going to be in favor. So that said, I agree with the children in the area, I agree with the additional parking. It would just have to be out somehow.
You see all sides of it.
I see all sides, I see both sides of the deal. I also see the side of, if I was the person that bought the property, my choice to come and ask for permission to do something. Rezone it, build something different. Everybody has the opportunity to purchase something on their own. You have that choice to tell you what you can't buy. So therefore, everybody has their limitation. Agree with it. purchased it, he tried it. This is his next step.
Time I saw the public notice, which I knew about it. Yeah, I noticed that there was a for sale sign in front of that house too, is that still the case?
You can't build a duplex on a, I gotta do something with it. So I'd like to build a new build duplex on it. I'd like to keep it in my family. I'd like to, you know, make the neighborhood better instead of having a dilapidated crappy house there, you know? But numbers are numbers, you know? I'm just a loss of words. Like, people parking garages. If I build a duplex, it's gonna have garages. There's not gonna be people parking off the street. He supposedly has cars parked in his driveway. It's like, there's, you know, cars is living.
No ordinance that says you have to have a garage.
No, I understand that, but there's saying parking is an issue, and I'm saying it's not, because they're gonna have garages, and there's already, like you said, there's a past garage and another structure there currently. So parking, it shouldn't be an issue, or a slight against me asking to put a duplex there.
Parking is not an issue until they have company.
Or
Then
until
it
they-
becomes an issue.
or until they build it.
Yeah, my car.
Like you have cars that could be. You have cars on the street.
He doesn't have them on.
They're in your driveway, right? You have multiple cars.
All right. Sorry, I'm sorry, I gotta go back in commission here. I understand everybody's concerns. So with that, do we have a recommendation? On this?
I'll make a motion to deny it.
I'll second.
So just so we're clear, this is a motion to deny the rezoning.
Given the number of people, objectives we have, it's still gonna go to the Board of Aldermen.
It does still go to the board.
So we,
It takes a super majority.
we vote to recommend to the Board of Aldermen that they deny the application.
That's what
Word
the
that right.
recommendation
Yeah.
for.
The recommendation would be to send it to the Board of Aldermen with the intention to not approve it. You seconded that? Do we want to go to roll call on that one? Commissioner Oster?
Commissioner Maynard? Commissioner Barron?
Aye.
Commissioner Gorman?
Yes.
Commissioner Alden?
Yes.
So with that, then the recommendation will go to the Board of Aldermen to not approve the rezoning, 601 South Central. Brings us to, the enrollment part of the agenda. Does anybody have anything they would like to bring forward on their eye?
I do have a question. In the past, we've all, the city officials have always voted. What has changed, I've been on as both the city official and the planning and zoning public member.
The city, are, just as a, basically an advisory, board, we're not voting, board of the.
I read the thing that, I didn't read that in there.
I think that makes sense. We shouldn't be involved in discussion that's gonna be brought to us, right? I mean,
You shouldn't be involved in the.
You know, if that's the case, then I think we should, some of the city officials should come off and we should put public members on this when we have greater representation of the community.
wouldn't disagree with that. And I know that I'll take on it because it's mandated, but I understand what you're saying.
It's just a matter of changing the ordinance. And be done.
It doesn't have to be changed, you want to just make it clear to the public. I mean, the mayor is people's terms come up with civilians rather than aldermen or employees.
It is lined out in the city ordinance, how many residential, appointees there are, 2 aldermen and, the city officials that.
It's written in that way, I'm pretty sure.
In ours, but in the state statute.
No.
So we would just
You
need
just take an ordinance to change that.
Who is gonna change it? I'm not against it at all, I mean, you definitely can do it.
put it on the next meeting for discussion.
That's what we should, I have no problem with that.
Chairman, Mayor, respectfully, the commissioner formally says is correct. And in the past, the officials on this board have in fact voted, and they weren't supposed to, doesn't that cast questions about the legality of past planning and zoning decisions?
So I did talk to our city attorney about that, and the Planning and Zoning Commission does not have the authority to pass laws. They are an advisory board to the Board of Aldermen. The Board of Aldermen has passed,
Yeah, that's the difference, but at the same time, we shouldn't be involved in that if we're gonna be the one that's gonna have the recommendations on it, right? Just, I don't think that's not good policy, because we should be not involved with it as it comes to the board of all, right? Because you get 3 or 4 people in here that are on the board, I mean, you can have something decided without the rest of the having an opportunity to take it in. But I think we should be, you're just an advisor.
I'm not pushing for that at all.
No,
There are other governmental bodies that have some backtrack.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I appreciate that.
I'm not trying to make it.
No, I appreciate the question. Glad to ask, because it's out there.
Yeah.
One thing we want to do is do better than everything. Right, Colorado, and something to come a long way with these. We're doing that. Just because it's been that way, doesn't mean it's the right way, right? Or has been the right way, or is the right way now.
Yes, sir.
Anything else for, as mayor, I have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Y'all have a good evening. Appreciate everybody joining us.